HMS Maidstone was a submarine depot ship of the Royal Navy. Facilities. She was built to support the increasing numbers of submarines, especially on distant stations, such as the Mediterranean and the Pacific Far East. Her equipment included a foundry, coppersmiths, plumbers and carpenters' shops, heavy and light machine shops, electrical and torpedo repair shops, and plants for charging submarine batteries. She was designed to look after 9 operational submarines, supplying over 100 torpedoes and a similar number of mines. Besides large workshops, there were repair facilities for all material in the attached submarines, and extensive diving and salvage equipment was carried. There were steam laundries, a cinema, hospital, chapel, 2 canteens, a bakery, barber's shop, and a fully equipped operating theatre and dental surgery. Career. Second World War. In September 1939, Maidstone was depot ship to the 10 submarines of the 1st Submarine Flotilla. In March 1941 she went to Gibraltar. From November 1942, Maidstone was based at Algiers Harbour, the main Allied base in the Mediterranean. In November 1943 she was assigned to the Eastern Fleet. In September 1944 Maidstone and the 8th Submarine Flotilla were transferred from Ceylon to Fremantle in Western Australia to operate in the Pacific. In late 1945 Maidstone left Fremantle, and en route to the UK, docked in the Selborne dry dock at Simonstown, South Africa. While on passage, she was diverted to Macassar to pick up 400 British naval prisoners of war from HMS Exeter, HMS Encounter and HMS Stronghold. In November 1945 she arrived at Portsmouth. During the war Maidstone was adopted by the Borough of Maidstone as part of Warship Week. The plaque from this adoption is held by the National Museum of the Royal Navy in Portsmouth. Post-war, in 1946, Maidstone became mothership to the 2nd and 7th Submarine Flotillas. The 2nd Flotilla comprised operational boats, the latter a trials and training squadron. Maidstone had a semi-permanent mooring off Monkey Island, but often put to sea with her brood. In 1951 Maidstone called briefly at Corunna to land a sick crewman. This was not classified an official visit, although it was the first time a British warship had entered a Spanish harbour since the end of the Spanish Civil War. In 1953 she took part in the Fleet Review to celebrate the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. On the 16th of June 1955 the submarine HMS Maidstone sank in Portland Harbour alongside Maidstone 20 minutes after an explosion in the forward torpedo compartment. A rescue party from Maidstone saved a number of the Siddon's crew, but 13 died. A week later, the submarine was raised and the accident was found to be caused by the high-test peroxide fuel in a torpedo. Surgeon Lieutenant Charles Rhodes was posthumously awarded the Albert Medal for his part in the rescue. In 1956 Maidstone was flagship of the Commander-in-Chief Home Fleet. In September 1957, the Russians protested when Maidstone accompanied the training aircraft carrier HMS Ocean on a visit to Helsinki. In 1959 Maidstone received an extensive refit to accommodate nuclear submarines. The 2nd Flotilla was then moved to Devonport. Approx 1961 Maidstone sailed to Faslane on Gaelic, where she was the depot ship to the 3rd and 10th Submarine Squadrons. In 1965 she undertook a trip to Liverpool, and she visited the same port 1 year later. She also undertook a trip to Rothesay during this period, and then in 1967 she sailed to Rosyth Dockyard to undertake preparations to mothball her. Belfast. In October 1969 Maidstone was refitted and recommissioned as accommodation for 2,000 troops and sent to Belfast. In 1969 she arrived under tow at Belfast to serve as barracks for the increased security forces in the area. In 1971, she was used as a prison ship in Operation Demetrius as a place to hold internees without trial, including Jerry Adams. The holding area itself was at the stern and consisted of 2 bunkhouses, 1 up, 1 down, and 2 mess rooms. Above these were the rooms of the governor and his staff, and above this was the deck, used twice a day for exercise. The deck was surrounded by 10-foot-high barbed wire. She was moored in Belfast Harbour 20 feet from the land, entry to the jetty being guarded by sandbagged army emplacements. The Maidstone was also notable for a successful escape by 7 Provisional IRA members on the 17th of January 1972. The men swam close to 300 yards through icy water and evaded army and police, only to later hold a press conference. Fate. On the 23rd of May 1978, Maidstone was broken up for scrap at the Thos W. Ward scrapyard in Inverkeithing. Publications: College, J. Jet Warlow, Ben. Ships of the Royal Navy. The complete record of all fighting ships of the Royal Navy. London, Chatham Publishing. ISBN 9781861762818. OCLC 67,375,475.